Hello, everyone. My name is Jyoti Anchalkar, and I will be your host today. Thank you for taking time out to attend today's webinar. I'm part of eBay Seller Education team, which is responsible for conducting webinars for training sellers like you about various eBay processes and best practices. These webinars are designed to help you grow your business and meet customer expectations. We hope that you will benefit from these webinars and apply the best practices in your business. Join our live webinars through the webinar calendar on export.ebay.com and get your questions answered in real time. The topic for today's webinar is order management and shipping best practices, which focuses on the best practices that you need to follow while managing and shipping your orders received on eBay. Our webinar agenda is as follows. What is order management? Managing orders via Seller Hub, considerations affecting order management, shipping best practices, and shipping policy. Let's talk about order management. When we talk about order management, the first and important thing that you need to understand is this is the next most important step that you need to follow after you have received a sale. If you are able to follow the post sale process smoothly, then you are going to have a buyer with a happy buying experience and someone who is going to come back for a repeat purchase. So, when we talk about order management, it includes these points such as print shipping labels, product packaging, updating shipping and tracking details, track shipment, communicate with buyers, product delivery, and last but not the least, post sale refund and cancellation. Let's talk about each of these steps a little bit in detail. Print shipping labels. Once you have received the order, it is important to print the right shipping labels which have the correct information of the buyer that he has provided at the time of the checkout. Wrong shipping labels will lead to wrong item being delivered to the buyer, and of course, no buyer wants to receive a wrong product. Product packaging. Let's take, for example, as a buyer, would you want to receive a product that is received in a bad, damaged, or an improper packaging? Of course not. Then it is very important that you use the right packaging materials for shipping items to your buyers. Updating shipping and tracking details. Once you have got the labels printed, make sure that you are updating the shipping and tracking details within the handling time you have specified in the listing. So even if you have shipped the item on time, but you miss on updating the tracking details within the handling time, it is going to result in impacting your seller performance on eBay. The next is track shipment. Entering the shipping details does not end your job as a seller. Don't just update the tracking details. Make sure you are keeping a track of the shipment. Do not leave it up to the buyer to track their shipment and then think that your job is done. One thing that you need to understand and remember is as a seller, your job starts when you create the listing and it ends only when your buyer is completely satisfied with the transaction. Next, communicate with buyers. As a seller, you need to keep a track to know where your item has reached, and very importantly, make sure that you are communicating with your buyer at every step. Keep your buyers informed. The best part of keeping your buyers informed is this helps in building good relations with your buyers. Product delivery, another important step. Follow up with your buyers for the product delivery. Check with them if the product that has reached them is it in the proper condition and that they are happy with the same. Assure your buyers that you are there to help them out just in case any issues arise for the product. Now, when we talk about issues with the product, we are talking about handling post sale refunds and cancellations. Do not forget to take on time actions on the post sale refunds and cancellation requests you receive from your buyers. The best way to resolve such issues is importantly to keep your buyers always updated, keep communicating with your buyers. Another important thing that you need to remember is when you communicate with your buyers, please use the member to member communication method only. Do not try to have any communication that is outside eBay. Now, that was an overview on what order management is. Now that you know what order management is, how are you going to manage it? Well, now that we've understood what are the various components of order management, getting an overview on how you can manage this is through your orders tab in Seller Hub. The orders tab within Sellers Hub will help you to find all the information on the current and recent orders, which means all your selling activity will be on one screen. Under your orders tab, you can view orders within a specific time period, use smart search function with different parameters, or filter by awaiting payment, awaiting shipment, paid and shipped, and archived. Did you know that you can easily download the orders report from the Manage Orders page by selecting Download Report at the top right of the table? Another important thing is a separate section within the Orders tab in Seller Hub allows you to manage cancellations, returns, requests, and disputes, as well as print shipping labels and upload tracking. It is in the Orders tab that you can also set up rules for managing returns and automating feedback. Let's now talk about considerations that may be affecting your order management. Now that we are done checking with the orders, let's have a walkthrough on the considerations. There are some factors that impact the complete managing of the orders, and at times, these can even result in bad seller performance. And did you know that most of these factors are actually under your control? You can stop them from happening. So, what are the factors that impact the order management process? Customs, handling time, estimated delivery dates, and shipping services. Let's understand each of these factors a little bit in detail. Customs. Selling internationally is a great way to grow your business, and it's easy to get started on eBay. Simply add international shipping and your listing will become available to millions of eBay buyers worldwide. We all know and we agree that customs is a government agency responsible for regulation of shipments entering a country. All shipment being sent to and from a country must clear customs first. And generally, it is the buyers who pay for any additional cost associated with international purchases such as duties, taxes, and custom clearance fees. So, what are the best practices that you as a seller on eBay need to follow to take care of this factor that may impact your order management? As I've informed earlier in the earlier slide, generally buyers pay any additional cost associated with international purchases. There are certain do's and don'ts with regards to customs, such as a seller, you need to ensure that you're including this paragraph as a part of your description that states, international buyers, please note import duties, taxes, and charges aren't included in the item price or the postage cost. These charges are the buyer's responsibility. Please check with your country's customs office to determine what these additional costs will be prior to bidding or buying. Now, by adding this information within your description, you are keeping everything transparent for your buyer and letting him know that he would be responsible for the custom charges, if any. Do note that eBay is not involved in custom related issues. Hence, it is always best to communicate directly with the buyer and set right expectations. Apart from this, there are some other do's also, such as always ensure that you're sending a pre shipment order confirmation email with the details of the taxes and duties. Very importantly, if the buyer asks you to commit any custom fraud, please report that to eBay. Now, what you should not do. Do not falsify custom declarations or mark an item as gift in order to avoid custom fees. Do not provide false information on the customs form. you may lose eBay's seller protection for the transaction. The next factor that impacts your order management is understanding handling time. That is the handling time. Handling time is the number of business days between which you receive the payment for an item, that is the confirmation of the payment, and when your package is scanned by your logistic partner. It does not mean when you have shipped the item from your end. Rather, it means that when did the item move out from the site of the logistic partner and is now out for delivery. As a seller who is selling on eBay, you need to decide how much time you would take to get this activity done. And you need to ensure that the tracking details are updated within the specified handling time. If you miss updating the tracking details within the handling time, it would be counted as a defect on the transaction and in turn will result in getting your seller standard down. Now, what is one day and same day handling time? Once you have mastered the art of shipping items within your specified handling time, you can then decide to work towards offering one day handling or a same day handling. The one day handling time isn't based on 24 hours. It ends at the end of the next business day. Similarly, if you have mastered one day shipping, the next step is to offer same day shipping. Remember, handling time is measured in business days. That is, weekends and holidays do not count or are not taken into consideration. However, as a seller, you can decide whether you would want the weekends to be calculated as business days as well. Another important thing is you should only go with the one day handling time or the same day handling time only when you are sure that you would be able to abide by this commitment of one day or the same day handling time. There are certain key points when we talk about handling points that you need to remember. The key points are you can offer a maximum of 40 business days as the handling time. But remember that although as a seller you are given the option to offer maximum of 40 business days as the handling time, do not try to use this unless your product requires it. Remember, the handling time is only this kind of a handling time of 40 business days is only for those kind of items that possibly need some recommended changes or are handmade. I'm sure you would know that there are some items that would take time to get personalized, right? Now, the best time that eBay recommends or eBay suggests as handling time is between 3 to 5 business days. However, again, you are the seller and the best decision maker of your business. The other points that you need to remember is handling time cannot be changed if there is a bid or order received on the listing. By default, the time zone in which handling time is calculated is specific time, but yes, the item location, that is where the item is located, that would supersede. An automatic shipping policy will be created in the business policies as per your preference. If there is an item listed in the last 90 days, you can choose to either edit, copy, reassign, or delete the policies that you are creating whenever you want to. Please remember that if you update a policy, any listings using that policy will automatically be updated with the given changes, right? Now we are done with what is order management. We are done with managing orders via Seller Hub. We are done with considerations affecting order management, under which we have completed customs and we have completed understanding handling time. Now let's move to the next consideration that may affect the way you are managing the orders that you have received, which is types of shipping services. While listing your item, you get the option to specify the shipping services and the shipping policies. Most of the times, our sellers are quite confused on what exactly does it mean by domestic and international shipping. especially when we talk about our sellers doing cross-border trade on eBay, that is CBT, business on eBay. Let's understand this. Suppose you list an item on eBay USA and a buyer from eBay USA makes the purchase, requesting it to be shipped within USA. For you as a CBT seller, it would be considered as domestic shipping. Whereas if you list on eBay USA, or that we say as ebay.com, and a buyer requests you or asks you to ship the item outside US to an address which is outside US, then that would be considered as an international shipping. So, basis the shipping services, that is domestic or international, you need to specify the shipping policies. That is, how are you going to ship the item to your buyer, the method involved to ship, and the cost involved around it. It is imperative that you check with your respective logistic service providers for the services offered by them and the cost involved before proceeding with listing any item. This will avoid on the problems that you may face later on after you have received an order. Now, when we talk about estimated delivery date or calculating estimated delivery timelines, we need to understand that for buyers, knowing when they can expect to receive the item is of utmost importance while they are making a decision whether to purchase the item or not. And that's why we at eBay always show an estimated delivery date on the eBay listings to all the buyers. The estimated delivery date, or the EDD, is affected by various factors such as the date when the buyer has paid for the item, that means the payment confirmation date. Next is, where is the buyer located? That is the buyer's proximity to the item's location. Third is the seller's handling time. That is your handling time added when you're creating the listing. The next is the shipping service. That is whether you're giving a domestic or international shipment, and the services, that is whether you're offering economy, standard, or expedited. The shipping service selected by you. There are some other factors such as the shipping history of the seller, the service metrics of the seller, that can impact the estimated delivery date that is shown to the buyer when he's looking at your listing or when he's completing the checkout. Therefore, it becomes very, very crucial that you ensure the right shipping service and right shipping policy is mentioned for buyers to select from. You have to bear in mind that if you are missing on the EDD, which is shown to the buyer when he completes the checkout, and eBay gets to know about it, that you are at fault, it is your fault for missing on the estimated delivery date, this will result in impacting your complete seller performance. It's important that you take a note that estimated delivery date is visible to buyers, and this date that is visible to the buyers will be based on the shipping method you have offered. Offering faster shipping methods in your listings, that is express shipping, but selecting a slower shipping method, that is economy, is ultimately shipping the item with a wrong shipping service. And this will result in your actual delivery date being delayed by beyond the EDD. And that will again in turn result in your seller performance going down. Selection of inaccurate shipping method that we just spoke about may lead to buyers having bad buyer experience, that is BBE, or even filing an item not received claim. So please ensure that you're first of all offering the right shipping service. Another thing is you are ensuring that just not the service, but when the buyer completes the checkout, you are shipping the item as per the shipping service selected by the buyer. So, what are the best practices that eBay is recommending out over here? eBay recommends one of the shipping best practices: before you ship the item, review the cost and speed of delivery before offering a shipping service. And that is where we just spoke about that. While creating the listing, before you enter the shipping information, you need to get the proper estimate from your logistic service providers on what kind of shipping services would they be offering and what are the shipping costs they would be charging to get the item shipped to a buyer of a particular location. Ship items within the handling time that is specified within the listing. Upload accurate tracking details, and very importantly, ensure that the tracking information matches with the item location in the listing details. And if you have already shipped the item, ensure that you're marking the item or the transaction as shipped once it has been, only after it has been sent. There are certain don'ts also. So do not ship the item later than the promised handling time. Use a slower shipping service than the one that is selected by the buyer. We just spoke about it. If the buyer has completed the checkout using expedited service, but you are shipping the item through economy or through standard, that means you are choosing a slower shipping service than the one selected by the buyer, which is not expected by eBay or even by the buyer. Do not include any additional fees for handling and packaging when offering free shipping. If you do this, the entire purpose of offering free shipping or the buyer using free shipping as a mode to make that particular purchase, it's killing the entire purpose, right? And last but not the least, do not delay shipments, even if Payoneer or your bank has not made the funds immediately available to you. It is not the buyer's fault that Payoneer or your bank is delaying the funds, right? So when we talk about order management, shipping best practices, as a seller, you need to remember that each and every step that we discussed today is important. If you miss on following the best practices that we just spoke about for any of the steps or try to skip any of these steps, you are only going to create problems during the transactions, which would lead to a bad buyer experience, that is a BBE. And this in turn will impact your overall selling performance on eBay. So apart from this, the last and most important thing that you need to remember are the shipping policies, that is eBay shipping policy. So if you do not abide by the policies that eBay has already set, such as ensuring that you specify the correct item location, you do not go and commit an error of item location misrepresentation, or even using wrong or incorrect shipping services and not the one that the buyer has completed the checkout with, can result in eBay taking actions on your account, such as administratively ending or canceling listings, hiding or demoting all listings from the search results, most possibly lowering your seller rating or having buying or selling restrictions or even account suspensions, right? So that is all that we had for today's webinar. We hope that this information which was shared today has been useful to you. Do keep joining us for our forthcoming training webinars. Keep checking the webinar calendar on export.ebay.com. Before we wrap up, make sure you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. You will gain access to all our latest videos packed with tips and tricks to streamline your eBay selling experience. Do not miss out. The links are mentioned in the description. We will see you soon in the next webinar. Goodbye.